Hi everyone! In another video I've related to the RASCI and the RACI matrix in order to explain the roles, who should do what in the context of project management, in the context of completing a task or even a program. This is what I'd like to explain a little further here now. First, I'd like to refer to the so-called RACI matrix. So RACI is an abbreviation of 4 different roles. One role is the role of responsible. Who's responsible means who's responsible for implementation. Yeah. So the person who is responsible, who has the R role, is the person who is in charge of actually doing what a task contains, or doing what a project or a program contains. This role may require the support of other people, which we'll come back to later. But for the moment being, let's just keep in mind the person who's in charge of doing what needs to be done. The second role is the role of accountable. Who's accountable? That's the person who is in charge of achieving the right results, achieving the results we wanted in the first place. And that's a totally different thing than being responsible for all the things that need to be done in order to achieve what we wanted to have. Then there's the third role, which is the so-called consultative role. This is a bit different. This role is so-called on demand, which means it's a person who's advising on certain issues, who can be consulted, get the context of a certain task or a subtask. And this role needs to be involved by the person who is in charge of project, a task or program. So it's a role which is passive in the first place, but needs to be requested from the person who's responsible. Then there's the role of being informed. The informed role, that's a person who needs to be involved in the sense of kept in the loop at certain points, and it depends on which level that person is. First comes to mind the sponsor of a project, for example, who needs to be informed about certain progress at certain stages, because they are either line managers or other project managers who need to be kept in the loop. What comes to mind, for example, is if we change a process which is supposed to change the way we are controlling costs, for example, or the way we are factoring invoices and so forth, that might require to keep line managers in the loop in finance and in other areas of the company. So that's a very important role as well. And also a role which needs to be identified by the person who is in charge of running the project. In the RASCI scheme, there's a different role which is called supportive. Supportive is a role which is taking a part of the whole thing. So if you have the responsible role, for example, for a whole project, then the supportive role can be the leader of a part project, a part of the whole thing. Or, for example, a subtask of a task. And these people are often required because there's so many tasks and projects which require many more persons than just one. So we need effective collaboration. And this is where this whole system comes into play, because we need effective collaboration. Then everyone should know what his or her role in this and that program, project or task is, because we all need to communicate effectively, and we need to know who to involve at which point. RACI and RASCI matrix has been very effective because that clarifies who's actually contributing in which way to the whole project or task. I hope this helps. If any questions, let me know. Looking forward to see you. Bye.